housing conditions are appalling and very little has changed in the 40 years since the towers were built.
I mean, the conditions are terrible, they're not acceptable at all.
When the group first came together, they identified a large number of housing issues they faced as residents in the towers. Following the human rights section of the programme, they were able to select the particular issues they wanted to tackle using the human rights-based approach. The issues they wanted to address were pigeon waste. This included the build-up of pigeon droppings, dust, carcasses of dead pigeons, nests, feathers and infestations of mites, caused by the waste which piled up behind the ventilation partitions on the landings. Maintenance problems and upkeep. This included both the actual problems and the housing executive's response when problems were reported. Rehousing families out of the towers. This simply means that the 7 towers are not an acceptable form of accommodation for families with small children and they should be rehoused. During the action research phase of the programme, the group designed and carried out a survey to gather evidence on the extent of these problems and how they were affecting other residents of the towers. In this way, they were able to produce a baseline picture of what things are like now. The right to participate in decisions which affect their lives and the right to hold those in power to account are also central to the human rights-based approach. The survey found that people living in the 7 towers were excluded from decisions made about their housing and had no effective means to hold the housing executive to account. The next step the group had to take was to decide how their right to housing could be made better over time and how this could be monitored to see whether the right was being fulfilled.
Conditions in the tower are not good, so there needs to be at first an acknowledgement that there's a problem. When there's an acknowledgement that there's a problem, then you can move to the next step of, well, how do we actually deal with that problem?
Human rights indicators and benchmarks, which measure whether or not governments are meeting their obligations and targets, are usually set by governments themselves.
They're very good at gathering the data. They're not very good at then redirecting the resources.
In order to ensure real participation, i.e. that the group as residents were deciding how their rights could be made real, they chose the human rights issues they wanted to see improvement on.
Of course, the entitlements and duties imposed by the right to adequate housing must be effectively implemented by states. This is one of the obligations. The states are the duty bearers.
In order to judge if the housing executive were meeting our rights, we decided to monitor if things got better or worse for residents over 12 months. In order to ensure real participation, i.e. that residents were deciding how our rights could be made real, we chose the issues we wanted to see improvement on. The issues we want to plan to monitor are as follows: pigeon waste, families in the 7 towers, dampness and mould, drainage and sewage problems, resident satisfaction of the Northern Ireland Housing Executive's response to maintenance problems, participation and involvement of residents in decisions made about their housing. In May of this year, following the survey, the Northern Ireland Housing Executive informed the local housing forum that they plan to do a major renovation of the flats, which they say will deal with many of the issues listed above.
Today we met up with Margaret Ritchie, the new housing minister, and she herself today committed to helping us, the 7 towers residents, with our indicators.
The hearing received wide coverage in the local and national media. On the 3rd of July, in response to the hearing, the current Minister with responsibility for housing, Ms Margaret Ritchie, visited the residents in the New Lodge to receive a presentation on their work. In addition to commending the work of the residents, the Minister made a commitment to ensure that the Housing Executive tackle the issues in accordance with the human rights indicators and the benchmarks set by the residents.
Firstly, there is no point looking at the bricks and mortar of the towers without looking at the human beings and families within the towers. Any regeneration of the flats needs to address the situation of families in the towers. To do this, we need real social housing for North Belfast. Secondly, improvements of the flats were due to take place in 2006, but has been cancelled for a number of years. We're very clear that this commitment has to stay on the Northern Ireland Housing Executive's agenda, and what we are doing will assist that.
Training, education is something that you can identify your own necessities and look for who can provide you the support.
You go there on your own right. But you'll only go there on your own right when you have established yourself as a legitimate actor. And you'll only do that when what you're doing at the ground or other levels in terms of advocacy becomes so irresistible that the other party comes to seek you out.
Make sure that the next time that high-rises or any kind of housing is proposed, that they hear from families about what works and what doesn't work for them.
For me, all I want is a wee garden, a wee backyard for my child to play, neighbours who have other kids who at least you can just go in next door and play with them, things like that, just a better life, better quality life for my Alicia, my child. I think that's basically what the families want.
The Northern Ireland Executive has pledged to pump money into a rundown residential area in North Belfast. The appalling housing conditions in the Seven Towers high-rise flats were highlighted last month when residents presented evidence to a panel of human rights experts. The Social Development Minister has promised to take action, but residents say they are not going to let the issue be swept under the carpet.
Well, over the next 12 months, we're going to be monitoring by doing surveys, etc., to make sure that they are meeting our rights as far as rehousing families out of the flats and dealing with the damp and moldness. And at the end of the 12 months, we will then be reporting back to the panel of human rights.